video says, do animals know that they exist? Me personally, I feel like they do in a way. Like, I feel like everything has a soul, even down to like the trees. But yeah, I feel like animals know they exist. I mean, if they didn't know they exist, then how would they know to come to you when you call their name? I just don't know what goes on through their brain. Like, that's what I'm pretty curious about. Like, is it just run, jump, and bite? Like, what really goes on through their brain? But I know that they get tired. Like, I've seen animals, specifically more so dogs, like especially a female dog. One of my aunt, her dogs were on her period, and when I went over there, like, she just wanted to just be around me so much. Like, she just wanted just love because she was just feeling sad. Like, and you can literally see the sadness in her face. So I feel like animals do know they exist to a certain extent. Like, are they as aware as we are? Probably not. But let's see what they think of the video.
Right now, there's a dog lying on a couch somewhere, staring at the wall. And if you asked its owner what it's thinking about, they'd probably say something like nothing, or food, or squirrels. But what if that's wrong? What if behind those eyes, there's something looking back? What if that dog knows, on some level, that it exists? Or, and this is the question that should actually keep you up at night, what if it doesn't? What if you are the only kind of thing in the entire universe that knows it's alive? In 1970, a psychologist named Gordon Gallup Jr. came up with what is still considered the gold standard test for self-awareness in animals. It's called the mirror test. The setup is simple. You anesthetize an animal. While it's unconscious, you put a small mark somewhere on its body. A dot of paint on its forehead, a sticker on its ear. Somewhere it can only see in a mirror, not by looking down. Then you put it in front of a mirror and watch what happens. Most animals see their reflection and think it's another animal. They posture, they bark, they try to scare it off. Eventually they get bored and walk away, never once understanding that the thing they were threatening was themselves.
But I mean, if you don't see yourself regularly and you just wake up from a sedated nap, why wouldn't you think, you know, like, this is another thing? But also animals, I mean, they're very smart. Animals are very smart, but I don't think that they're not as smart as a human being would be. So if they're not taught, okay, this is what you constantly look like all the time, then, you know, how would they really know? So I don't know.
A handful of animals do something different. They see the mark. They look at the mirror, they look back at themselves, and they reach up and touch the mark on their own body. They understand that the reflection is them. The animals that pass: chimpanzees, bonobos, orangutans, gorillas, but only occasionally, dolphins, orca whales, elephants, and one bird, the Eurasian magpie.
Okay, how do you get a dolphin to look at itself in the mirror, and how do you get an orca, a big old orca, to look at itself in the mirror?
Sized creature with a brain the size of your thumb that apparently knows what it looks like.
Bird brain.
The animals that fail: dogs, cats, almost every other mammal on Earth, including, for the first 2 years of their lives, human babies. Now here's where it gets complicated, because a lot of scientists think the mirror test is a terrible way to measure self-awareness.
Right.
Dogs, for example, live in a world built almost entirely on smell, not sight.
Exactly.
Asking a dog to recognize itself in a mirror might be like asking you to identify yourself from a recording of your own heartbeat. The format of the test is wrong, not the dog. In 2017, a researcher named Alexandra Horowitz modified the test. Instead of a mirror, she gave dogs a scent version, their own urine, altered urine, and completely foreign urine, and watched which one they spent the most time investigating. Dogs spent significantly more time with the altered version of their own scent. They noticed something about themselves had changed. By their own rules, in their own sensory world, dogs may know exactly who they are.
I'm just saying, because even when you see a dog, or when you walk a dog, most dogs, they don't sniff their own pee. They sniff another dog's pee or a scent left behind. Like, why would they? I'm sure they're familiar. They're definitely familiar with their own scent. They're even familiar with their owner's scent. So of course they're gonna smell. They're gonna smell their scent, but notice something different, because it's like, this smells like me, but it's like not me. You know what I mean? So
knowing who you are is different from knowing that you are. There's a distinction
Facts.
Philosophers have been arguing about.
That's facts. Knowing who you are versus knowing what you are, that's deep. And I'm not going to explain it to you guys. Figure it out yourself.
Centuries. It's the difference between being a self and knowing you're a self. Between having experiences and knowing you have experiences. There's a word for this: metacognition. Thinking about your own thinking. Being aware of your own awareness. It's what you're doing right now, actually. You're not just reading these words. You know that you're reading these words. You can zoom out from yourself and observe yourself from the outside. That's
Well, I
the
don't know how to
question.
do that.
Can animals do that? And the answer, increasingly, is yes, but it's messier than anyone expected.
Why is
In
that?
2007, researchers at the University of Georgia ran an experiment on rhesus monkeys. They gave the monkeys a memory test, and after each question gave them a choice: take a hard test worth more points, or take an easy test worth fewer. The monkeys consistently chose easier questions when they were uncertain of the answer, harder questions when they felt confident. They weren't just answering questions, they were evaluating how well they knew the answer before they gave it.
Okay, how can a monkey do that though? Like, I've seen Planet of the Apes. I watched recently all the Planet of the Apes, and they were, I mean, granted that's a movie, but they became real advanced. Like, they literally became more advanced than humans, and humans became the primitive. I think I used that right, the primitive. So how can you like tell a monkey like, okay, this is the test. Do you want to take an easier test or a harder test? Like, how would they even know the answers to these things? Like, that's just so insane.
Cognition.
And no, I don't
That's
believe
an
in
animal
evolution.
thinking about its own thinking, and it doesn't stop at monkeys. Rats have been shown to opt out of tests they haven't studied for, choosing a smaller guaranteed reward over gambling on a question they're not sure about. Pigeons can report their own memory failures. Dolphins have been observed hesitating before answering, in a way that mirrors human uncertainty. These animals aren't just reacting to the world. They're modeling their own internal states.
Well, you know what they say about dolphins? They say dolphins are a super sophisticated species, and you're never supposed to, and isn't it illegal to talk to dolphins because you never know, they might answer back to you.
Know when they know something. They know when they don't.
Facts.
But here's what science still can't crack. All of that, the mirror recognition, the metacognition, the self-modeling, it's all behavioral. We can watch what animals do. We cannot get inside what they feel. There's a concept philosophers call qualia, the raw subjective texture of experience, the specific redness of red, the particular pain of a paper cut, the feeling of being you, right now, in this moment. Is there something it feels like to be a dog? Or is the dog just running biological software, processing inputs, producing outputs, with nobody home? The philosopher Thomas Nagel made this famous in a 1974 paper with one of the greatest titles in academic history. What is it like to be a bat? His argument was simple and devastating. Bats navigate by echolocation. They experience the world as a landscape of sound reflections that we literally cannot imagine. And no matter how much we study bat brains and bat behavior, we will never know what it feels like to be one. The inner experience is inaccessible. And if we can't know what it's like to be a bat, how do we know there's anything it's like to be anything other than us? Some scientists think we're massively underestimating animals. In 2012, a group of neuroscientists gathered at Cambridge University and signed what became known as the Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness. Their conclusion: the neurological structures that produce consciousness in humans are not unique to humans. Birds and mammals, and possibly other creatures, possess the same neural substrates for conscious states. In plain English, the hardware that runs consciousness in your brain exists in their brains too.
I mean, obviously.
The lights, they argued, are probably on. Franz de Waal, one of the world's leading primatologists, spent decades watching chimpanzees and argued that the question of whether animals have inner lives was almost backwards. We should be shocked, he said, if they didn't. Evolution doesn't tend to invent something from scratch. Consciousness almost certainly evolved gradually, just like legs, like eyes, like lungs, which means it probably exists on a spectrum, and we are not at one end of it and everything else at the other. We're all somewhere along the same line. And then there's the one piece of evidence that's hardest to explain away: grief. In 2018, a killer whale named Tahlequah lost her calf. The baby died shortly after birth, and for 17 days, Tahlequah carried the body of her dead calf on her head as she swam.
Dang, that's sad.
17 days. Across more than 1,000 miles of ocean. The rest of her pod took turns helping her carry it when she got tired. Scientists called it a tour of grief.
See, no, grief in animals is definitely real because I've literally experienced that with an animal. When my cousin passed away, his dog, he was at my grandmother's house, and I literally love that dog to this day. Like, I literally consider that dog my dog just because of, like, we were literally there for each other at that time. But during that time, he would always go to the door and just whine. Well, not whine, but, cry and hope that he was coming. And, you can't really tell a dog he's not coming So I would just be like, okay, like come with me, come with me, come with me, like, and everything like that. And I would talk to him about it, like, he's not here anymore. Like, you're with me now, essentially. That's why, like, that dog holds such a special place into my heart. Like, that is really my dog. Like, I love him. But yes, dogs, I mean, even animals, but I know specifically for a dog, they definitely experience grief just like anybody else. And eventually, yes, they get over it. But yeah, they definitely experience grief.
The longest recorded in any non-human species, and no one had a clean behavioral explanation for it. It wasn't about survival. It wasn't about feeding. There was no evolutionary advantage to carrying a dead body for over 2 weeks across open ocean, except that maybe she knew her calf was gone and couldn't let go. If that's not the behavior of a creature that knows something existed and now doesn't, what is? So where does that leave us?
I feel like they can feel life force
says,
too.
Yes, some animals can recognize themselves. Yes, they can think about their own thinking. Yes, they feel something, probably. But the innermost question, the one you actually want answered, does the dog lying on the couch know it's alive? That one we still can't fully reach. Here's what we do know. The more closely we look at animals, the more the gap narrows. Every decade of research closes the distance a little more. Abilities we once thought were uniquely human, language, tool use, culture, mourning, self-recognition, keep turning up in other species. The wall between us and them has been getting shorter for as long as we've been studying them, which raises an uncomfortable question. If we've been wrong this whole time, if animals do exist in some meaningful sense, if there's something it's like to be them, if they feel and grieve and know themselves, then the way we treat them isn't just an ethical question. It's something we've been getting wrong for all of human history, and the only reason we got away with it this long is because we couldn't ask them. There's a chimpanzee named Washoe who, in 1966, became the first non-human animal to learn American Sign Language. She learned over 350 signs. She taught some of them to her son.
350
One day,
signs.
a researcher who had been gone for a long time came back to visit. Washoe hadn't seen her in months. When Washoe saw her, she signed, "Cry." Then she pointed at the researcher's eyes. "Cry." She wanted to know why the researcher wasn't crying, why she wasn't as moved as Washoe was.
Dang.
Whether or not Washoe understood her own existence, she understood yours. Maybe that's where it starts.
That right there, that's sad. Imagine like you're an animal, and I think animals have like really bad attachment issues. I don't know, but a lot of animals that I've been around. But imagine you're an animal and you see the person who's essentially, I guess, birthed you, taught you everything, and they don't even cry when they see you. And then like, if an animal that I sat there and taught sign language and they signaled to me cry, I would try and understand what they meant, and I would probably cry because it's like, dang, like that's such a scientific breakthrough, not only because the animal knows sign language, but the fact that you even feel an emotion towards me, that you want me to cry. Like that would just be a sense of sadness because I haven't seen you in a long time, but a sense of happiness because it's just like, just wow, like that's just mind blowing. But to me, I feel like all the like cartoons and things like that where an animal is talking, or like, where they just have their own lives, I feel like that kind of helps in a way, just because it makes you think that the animal is more than just an animal. Like, it's part of your life. They have their own lives too, XYZ. So I really like that factor of it. But me personally, like I said, I do feel like animals know that they exist to a certain extent. Are they as conscious as we are? Some might be, some I also feel like are not. But like, just take everything, like, just be kind to everything. I don't know, that's just the way that I always look at it. Like, just be kind to everything. But one thing about me that I always find it funny, I forgot who I was talking to, but I was just saying, like, the insult of somebody calling you a bird brain, like, that's just like, that's so funny because their brain is so small and they're basically just saying like you're just dumb as rocks. But either way, and I remember I was also having a conversation with someone, and we were talking about, they asked me like, oh, do you think ants have souls? And at that time, like, I just did not want to hear that. I needed to focus on something else. But ants, I don't know, because I know I said everything has a soul, but I don't know. Ants, I don't know. Science is such an amazing thing, and especially with animals. And if you believe in whatever you believe in, but we're really all created in God's image. Like, we all have eyes. We all have the same type of eyes. Like if you just look at anything on an animal, you will see it in a human being. Like even some human beings look like animals. Like it's genuinely crazy, just the vastness of human life and animal life. Comment down below what you guys think. Do you guys think that animals really exist? Do they have souls? Do they have consciousness? Do you agree with what they were saying in this video? Please comment that down below. Road to 1,000 subs, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, y'all. Peace.